If you look at this question, students, what is told in the problem, omega is a complex number such that 2 omega plus 1 is equal to z, and z is equal to root of minus 3. So which can be written as root of 3 into root of minus 1, which is equal to root 3 into iota. So we can write 2 omega plus 1 is equal to z. So I can write 2 omega plus 1 is equal to root 3i. So I can say omega is equal to minus 1 plus root 3i divided by 2. Obviously, this implies to me that omega square will be its conjugate, minus 1 minus root 3i divided by 2, and definitely omega cube will be equal to 1. 1 plus omega square will be equal to 0. So this entire problem is about cube roots of unity. Is it right? So minus omega square minus 1, minus omega square minus 1 in this determinant, 1 minus omega square minus 1 will be equal to omega, correct? So I'll replace this as omega square, 1 omega square, and omega to the power 7. Omega to the power 7 can be written as omega cube into omega cube into omega. Omega cube is 1, omega cube is 1 into omega, correct or not? So what is the answer that we get is equal to omega. Is it right? Omega. So what do we do? This is equal to 3k. All right. We'll perform an elementary operation on R1. R1 transforms as R1 plus R2 plus R3. So I'll get 1 plus 1 plus 1, 1 plus omega square, 1 plus omega square. Is it okay? 1 omega square, and then omega square omega. This value will be equal to 3k. Is it not? Will be equal to 3k. So if you look at the determinant, this is 3, 1 omega square. See, 1 plus omega square will be equal to how much? From here, 1 plus omega square is equal to 0. 1 omega square, and then 1 omega square omega should be equal to 3k. We'll expand this. 3 into omega square minus omega to the power of 4, that is equal to 3k. So omega square minus omega cube into omega, that is equal to k if you divide by 3. After dividing by 3, is it okay? So omega square minus omega, that is equal to k. Is it not? Omega square minus omega is equal to k. What is omega square? Omega square is nothing but minus 1 minus root 3i divided by 2 minus of 1 plus root 3i divided by 2, that is equal to k. So what do we get here now? This is minus 1 plus root 3i by 2, correct or not? So minus 1 by 2 minus root 3i by 2 plus 1 by 2 minus root 3i divided by 2, that is equal to k. Minus 1 by 2 and plus 1 by 2 will get cancelled. Minus of root 3i, that is what you will get, that is equal to k. So k is equal to minus root 3i is nothing but minus z, correct or not? So z is root 3i, so minus root 3i is nothing but minus z is the answer to the question. What answer do you write here now? Minus z is the answer to the question.